welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica Morehouse and this channel is about all things money. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to learn more about personal finance and investing and starting and running your own small business. That is what this channel is all about. But for this video, I want to talk about different saving strategies that I've been using for years. You may have heard some of them before, but if you're looking for some guidance or just some tips on how to save, well, that is what this video is all about. It's going to hopefully inspire you to take some action so you can start saving some more money and growing your wealth over time. Okay, so let's talk savings strategies. So the first thing you're going to want to do before anything else is to actually figure out, what are you saving for? What are your savings goals? And also, when you're outlining all of those goals, and to give you some examples, it could be saving up to buy a car, it could be a home down payment, it could be, investing is a savings goal, investing for retirement specifically, it could be a college fund, it could be a vacation. I mean, I even have in my own budget a shopping savings account. So that means every paycheck or that I pay myself, I put a percentage of that into a special savings account for shopping for whenever I want to, get my hair done or buy some new makeup or clothes. So basically I'm putting money away in advance for those purchases. So I kind of give myself a little budget and I know where I'm at. So you can create as many savings goals and as many savings accounts as you want. Just FYI, I have quite a few, there's no limit, but the really key thing you need to remember is you need to make realistic goals. Now, if you want to be fancy, you can follow the, very popular SMART goals strategy, which is honestly a great strategy. It is just making sure when you're outlining your goals, making them specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. But basically, the realistic part of that is the really key component, because too often I see people just set these ridiculous, crazy, lofty goals. And you know what happens if you set a goal that is just like really, if you achieve that, then it's a miracle. You're going to get disappointed once you don't achieve it. So you want to set goals that if you were to implement a few other strategies that I'm going to talk about later on, you'll be able to achieve that, because then it'll give you that momentum to keep on saving. For example, if you want to plan a trip for a vacation, that's pretty clear. You can, figure out in advance, how much will that trip cost? Well, we've got accommodation to consider, food, excursions, souvenirs, flights, of course. You can make a travel budget even before you've booked your flights to figure out, how much is this going to cost us? And let's say you determine, okay, it's going to cost us about $5,000. Well, then you can work backwards to figure out, okay, how much on a monthly basis do I need to save, or how much can I afford to save on a monthly basis? And then you can figure out, okay, it's going to take me 1.5 years to get that amount of money, or, I'll divide that by 12 and then try to save that specific amount every single month so I can achieve that goal. The second saving strategy, which I have mentioned on this channel before, is pay yourself first. You've probably heard that term so much, or maybe it's just me because I've been doing this for 10 years, but it really is it's a classic for a reason. It works. And basically the concept of paying yourself first just means treating your savings goals, and so that is all of your savings goals, investing for retirement, saving for that trip, all of your different savings goals, treating them like they are expenses that are non-discretionary. You have to pay them. Just like a mortgage payment or a rent payment or your utilities, you have to pay those expenses. Otherwise, your lights will get cut off or you'll get kicked out of your place. So you want to treat your savings goals like they are the most important expense. You have to set aside money for that. And if you treat it like that, you will somehow find the money to save. It is a weird way how it works. It is part psychology, I think. But honestly, I've been doing it for almost a decade myself, and it is the biggest reason why I've been able to, build my wealth over time, but also afford a lot of different things that I never thought I'd be able to afford, such as like going back to school several times, eventually becoming a homeowner, lots of different things. So pay yourself first. That is the second saving strategy. Next, and this is also something that I've been doing for years and years and years, make it automatic, set up an automatic savings plan. Now there's a couple different ways you can do that. Personally, the way that I structure it is, even when I was an employee, is I would just get my income that would be, direct deposit into my checking account. And then I either manually or automatically had it set up so money would then flow into my different accounts. So sometimes, if money was tight, in my 20s, when I really didn't have much of a buffer in my checking account, I just made some manual moves every, paycheck. But you can set it up automatically with your bank. So now, you can get your direct deposit, and then you can automatically move money to your RRSP or your TFSA or your different savings accounts. You can even set it up so money automatically goes into your credit cards. I always have my bills set to be automated, so I almost never pay any of my bills manually. I think there's maybe one or two that I couldn't set up automatically, but make things automatic. So maybe you have to do one or two manual moves, but everything is just working in the background. It is a time saver, but it also is just like one of those things, just helps you save so much money and you don't really understand how. It just works. Next, it is basically taking a savings first approach. It means prioritizing your savings goals above anything else, but it's also getting into the mindset of getting more joy and pleasure out of saving money, investing money, seeing your assets grow compared to spending money. And in order to kind of do this, again, you have to do some of these other things like pay yourself first and make things automatic. Another thing, this is something that I do with lots of my clients that do have spending issues, is stop using those credit cards. I know so many people love credit cards, and I get it. I love my credit cards, sure. But they can also be a big money killer. They can, really wreak havoc on your financial life. I've seen it with a lot of people. And so if you're in a situation where you don't necessarily trust yourself with those credit cards, and that's no judgment, that's okay, then that means, this is a tool that just isn't working for us. It's not helping us. It is actually hurting us. So we need to not use the credit cards. Typically what I do if I see, a client that is struggling with their spending, I will get them to only put their fixed expenses on their credit card so they can still, get the benefit of improving their credit score. So that could be putting their phone bill on their, or subscriptions like Netflix and stuff like that on their credit card, things that are just the exact same amount every single month. But for anything that's like variable, such as like groceries, takeout, anything that kind of varies month per month, or that, in the past they've overspent on because it's so easy to do with your credit card because you can just tap or swipe, then I would usually recommend either using your debit card or using a prepaid credit card like a Coho or something like that, where you load money onto it. So it's like you're giving yourself an allowance and then it goes to zero. You don't go into overdraft. There's no overdraft on a thing like that. And then you just have to wait until your next paycheck to get more money to then spend on those things. Now, when I was in my 20s, that was what I did. I didn't use a prepaid credit card because I don't think they existed back then, but I did use my debit card. So basically, whenever I got paid, automatically moved money to my investments and my savings accounts. And then I had a second checking account actually. So I had, basically one checking account, my kind of priority one, where my direct deposit went in. And then also some of my linked bills, like my rent and stuff like that, they'd be automatically, paid for. And then I had a second checking account with a debit card attached. And that's where I'd give myself my allowance so I can spend money on groceries and wine or, entertainment, going out with friends, things like that. And I just use debit, and then I just monitor kind of the balance in my checking account, every few days or once a week or something like that. It sounds tedious and not super fun, but it is very effective. If you want to curb your spending and save more money, using debit over credit or a prepaid credit card is a really great idea. And last but not least, because I feel like I've been telling you or preaching at you a little bit, which I don't want to sound preachy or anything like that, because this channel really is about, it's a no judgment zone. There's no judgment here. Believe me, I've been through a lot myself, so there's no judgment and everyone is doing the best that they can. I truly, truly believe that. So I'm gonna end things off on a positive note. The last kind of saving strategy for you is to treat yourself. Now, this isn't to say that you should just blow all your money because you deserve it, you've done so good, and then undo all the good work that you've done. It just means to treat yourself once in a while, to give yourself that kind of pat on the back or to celebrate all the hard work that you're doing. So it doesn't have to be something expensive, just something that does bring you joy. And it could be like, Here's an example, and this is super cheesy, but when I was in my 20s and earning the least amount of money in my life, I really somehow look back, I don't know how I managed to live in a very expensive city and pay rent and all this stuff and make the money I did, but somehow I did. One thing that I did was I was very diligent with my budget, and every paycheck I would treat myself with a fancy coffee at Tim Hortons. I know, not very exciting considering what is that, like, I think back, then 10 years ago, that was maybe like a $2.50 expense, but it was something that I got to look forward to every second Friday on payday. I got to treat myself to this super sugary coffee that I cannot even, like, my teeth hurt just thinking about how sugary it was, but that's what I liked at the time. And it was just something that I can kind of celebrate that, hey, we did, good with our budget, and now it's another payday, let's keep on going. So it could be a fancy coffee for you. It could be I don't know, getting a new book at the bookstore. It could be whatever you want, but, make a plan for it in advance, and also, figure out, is there money enough in my budget to pay for this little treat every paycheck? Or it doesn't have to be every paycheck, it could be every month. But I personally, if you're like an employee and you get paid on a regular basis, I like setting it up so it's every paycheck, something to kind of look forward to. So just figure out, your own schedule and, what specific treat you want to give yourself. It's, again, just something that will give you that extra motivation and momentum to continue using your budget and working towards your savings goals. So that is it. Those are some saving strategies that I do all the time. I still use. I've used them for so long, and they work. So they're pretty simple in concept, maybe not as simple to implement, but that really is what money is. It's in general not that complicated, but to put it into practice, yeah, it's not easy. So don't give up, and let me know how you're doing in the comments. Actually, if you have any questions or just want to share what you're going through, let me know how you're doing in the comments. I love to have a conversation and see where you're all at. But yeah, that is it for me. Make sure to like this video if you like it, and of course make sure to subscribe to this channel. The most important thing, subscribe to this channel if you liked it. I have more videos in the queue that I can't wait to share with you. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching this entire video. I will see you in my next one.